Welcome all to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 4th of March 2024. Now, let us start with the today's agenda of the day where we will be talking about some interesting editorial section which relates to the bribery case of one of the MLAs and whether that MLA and MPs would be immune from the criminal prosecution. It talks about the Constitution Article 104 and we'll be discussing why Supreme Court will decide if MLAs and MPs immune from criminal prosecution. Now, this editorial, excuse me, this editorial we have taken from the Indian Express. Then we'll be talking about some interesting news update. And lastly, the legal news update of the day, which is coming from the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, guys, let us start with the context of this particular editorial where the Supreme Court has set to decide if legislators, which is MPs and MLAs, enjoy immunity from bribery charges in connection with votes made in Parliament and Legislative Assembly. Here we are linking Article 194 Clause 2 and 105 Clause 2, where the Constitution has talked about that legislature of a state, member of a legislature, sorry, I have a sore throat. Members of the legislature of a state shall be liable to any proceeding in any court in respect of anything said or any vote given by him in the legislature or a committee thereof, and no person shall be so liable in respect of publication by or under the authority of House or such legislature. Now, important here is that 105 clause 2 also relate to the same provision, but the provision is applicable to members of the parliament. Now here, a very important case strike off, where the case name is P.V. Narasimha Rao versus State. It's a 5 judges bench, and the case name and the judgment which is related to 1998, which interpreted this article literally and held that legislature enjoy immunity from criminal prosecution for bribery in matters connected to their speech and votes in Parliament and legislative assemblies. Now, a very higher bench named 7 judges bench headed by Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, will consider whether the judgment should be overruled or not. Arguments were heard over 2 days in the week of October 2023. Now, why is the court reconsidering this particular case? So, it's a case of an MLA which is from Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, Sita Soren, who was accused of accepting a bribe in return of her vote for a candidate during 2012 Rajya Sabha elections. Now, in 2014, the Jharkhand High Court refused to quash the case filed against her by the CBI, leading to an appeal at the Supreme Court that same year. Now, the bench comprising the then CJI Ranjan Gogoi, alongside with Justice Abdul Nazir and Sanjeev Khanna, heard the appeal in the March 2019 and observed that the decision in the P.V. Narasimha Rao dealt directly with such cases. Now, in September 2023, a 5 judges bench which was led by Honorable D.Y. Chandrachud demarcated 3 issues that needed to be reconsidered because the P.V. Narasimha Rao case was 5 judges bench and now a higher bench needed to reconsider the case. So now in the present case, it's a 7 judges bench case. Now, a permanent first at a glance, the bench observed that purpose of Article 194 Clause 2 and 1052 was to allow legislature to cast their vote without fear of reprisal, not to protect them from possible violation of criminal law. And second, taking note of the Justice S.C. Agarwal dissent in P.V. Narasimha Rao case, the decision in that case was seemingly protect bribe takers who vote in accordance with the purpose of bribe and not those who act contrary to the purpose of bribe. Now, what are the arguments in favor of the immunity of legislature? Senior advocate Raju Ramachandra, appearing for Sita Soren, argued that legislators have absolute protection from court proceeding under the concerned article, which is 194.2 and 105.2. The power to expel legislature for a moral implication of their actions have been given to the Speaker of the Parliament and the Legislative Assembly. So what they are arguing that the Constitution have thoroughly protected them from criminal prosecution. He also attempted to pick apart Justice Agarwal dissent in P.V. Narasimha Rao case, where he quoted that in respect of anything said or any vote given should be read as arising out of anything said or any vote given. Now, the senior judge who is appearing for Sita Soren have also argued against his interpretation stating we would be doing violence to language if we read in respect of in this manner only due to moral outrage. He also highlighted how the majority PV Narasimha Rao, despite speaking against the act of bribe taking, choose to read the constitution as written. Now, though Attorney General R. Venkataramani argued against the decision of P.V. Narasimha Rao, he was also of the opinion that Sita Soren case was unrelated to that judgment. He argued that vote given in Rajya Sabha elections are distinct from the vote given as a part of legislative process to turn a bill into law. As Soren case deal with Rajya Sabha elections, and the decision of the P.V. Narasimha Rao has no bearing to it. So here, the argument was against this particular case was that the particular judgment is not applicable in this particular case, as PV Narasimha Rao was related to the vote cast for making bill into law, and Sita Soren case is related absolutely to the vote cast in the Rajya Sabha elections. Now, the majority in PV Narasimha Rao decided that in respect of in Article 105 Clause 2 and 194(2), essentially they held that as long as there is a connection between the bribe taken and the vote or speech given, the legislature is protected from criminal prosecution. Therefore, a legislator has committed an offense the moment they accepted the bribe and should be held accountable, regardless of whether the legislature then chooses to make a certain speech or vote in certain way. Now, Solicitor General Mr. Tushar Mehta argued that the majority in PV Narasimha Rao case failed to consider the Prevention of Corruption Act also. He pointed out that the judgment protects bribe takers after there is a performance, even though Section 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act specifically punishes public servant who accept bribes with the intention to or as a reward for performing their public duty improperly or dishonestly. So it's a case where the MLAs and MP would be immune from the criminal prosecution that is yet to decide by a 7 judges bench of the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, let us start with the national news of the day. Jal Shakti Ministry signs pact with 12 institutions for river basin management collaboration. Jal Shakti Ministry has signed agreement with 12 technical education institutions for academic and research collaboration towards basin management of 6 rivers. So these rivers are Narmada, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri, and Payar. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat highlighted several efforts were made by the government to clean the river Ganga, while adding that due to better planning and proper implementation, UNESCO included Namami Gange mission among the 10 best conservation and revitalization campaigns in the world. So Jal Shakti Ministry signs pact with 12 institutions for river basin management collaboration. Zoologists spot new sea slug species, name it after Prez. So Zoological Survey of India has discovered a new species of head shield sea slug from Orissa and West Bengal coast. The head shield sea slug with a ruby red spot was found along the 3 kilometer stretch from the low intertidal zones of Dega and Udaipur, Odisha coast. So there is a new type of slug which has been found in Odisha and West Bengal. Now, Cabinet approves establishment of International Big Cat Alliance. So there are a lot of things which is happening for the wildlife reservation, where the cabinet has approved the establishment of International Big Cat Alliance with headquarters in India with one-time budgetary support of rupees 150 crore. Okay. Now, while commemorating 50 years of India's Project Tiger on April 9th, he formally announced the launch of International Big Cat Alliance. Now, India is a home for 5 big cats, namely tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, and cheetah. So, guys, please do remember it that Cabinet have approved the establishment of International Big Cat Alliance. Pro-Kabaddi League final, Paltan being supreme against the Steelers, clinched its first row. So, Puneri Paltan emerged victorious in the Pro-Kabaddi League session season 10 final, defeating Haryana Steelers 2025 in an encounter at the Gachibowli Indoor Stadium on March 1st. So this was all about the Pro Kabaddi League sports tournament which is happening. Now, Bengali translation wins Romanian Rolland Book Prize 2024. So Pankaj Kumar Chatterjee, the Bengali translator of Stalin's Couch, a French novel about the Soviet ruler final years, have won the 7th edition of the Romain Rolland Book Prize. This is the second time a Bengali translator has won the prize. The French original Lee Devante Stelen by Jean Daniel Baltasset has been adapted into a 2016 movie of the same name. So, guys, a Bengali translator person has won Romain Rolland Book Prize 2024. Now, Saudi Arabia launches bid to host the 2023 FIFA World Cup. Saudi Arabia campaign has to host 2023-2034 Football World Cup, with Morocco, Portugal, and Spain set to share the hosting of 2030 tournament. Global governing body FIFA limited the 2034 contest to bidders from the Asian and Oceanian Confederation. So, Saudi Arabia would be the second country from the Gulf region to host the event after neighboring Qatar staged 2022 finals. So, 2034. So it's around, still we have, 10 years, but the name has been decided. It would be Saudi Arabia who will host FIFA World Cup. Nicaragua becomes first Spanish-speaking nation to recognize India pharma standards. So Nicaragua has become the first nation of the Spanish-speaking world to recognize India pharma standards, as India and Nicaragua have entered into an MOU. So this particular country is between Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Sea and is a Central American nation known for the dramatic terrains of lakes, volcanoes, and beaches. The capital of this particular country is Managua. Currency is Nicaragua Cordoba. President is Daniel Ortega. Continent is North America. Official languages Spain. Official languages Spain. So please do remember this particular facts. Alexander Stubb sworn in as new Finnish president. So this particular person has been sworn in as the 13th president of Finland, the Nordic country that joined the NATO military alliance last April. Okay. Finland, which has a land border with Russia, joined as the 31st member of NATO last year in response to Moscow's war on Ukraine. So this is all about the appointment of president in Finland. Iran, Pars first satellite enters space after Russian launch. So Russia launched into space an Iranian research satellite which will scan Iran's topography from an orbit of 500 kilometers. Russia sent Iran's remote Khayyam sensing satellite into orbit in 2022 from Kazakhstan Baikonur Cosmodrome, reflecting deeper scientific cooperation between the two US sanctioned countries. Now, coming up to the legal update of the day, which is coming from the Supreme Court, where court has stated that courts can't rewrite contract, have to rely on terms and conditions agreed by party while adjudicating dispute. So where here the courts cannot rewrite or create a new contract between the parties and have to simply rely on the terms and conditions which are being settled by the parties while deciding a dispute between the parties. Here, the court added that it is not for the court to rewrite the terms and conditions of the contract between parties and apply its own subjective criteria to determine the course of action to be adopted either by them. So it is all about the terms and conditions of the Indian Contract Act, and the case name is Venkataraman Krishna Murthy and another versus Lodha Crown Buildmart Private Limited. Now, guys, if you want to revise the previous TNM, then do attempt the daily quiz link that is mentioned in the description of this particular channel, particular video. Guys, please do like our video. Please drop your comments in the comment section so that we can improve wherever we want to as per your feedback. Please subscribe the channel also. If you like the channel, if you like this video, do share with your friends and family members. Thank you so much for watching. Do take care of yourself.